Ivor.
I'll start sending out the, hey, you come listen to us. We're cool guys. We talk about music.
Just two cool dudes on the internet.
Oh, I want 2 pizzas.
2 pizzas, please.
I gotta make sure I don't accidentally start listening to it on the stream. Yeah, it's muted. We're good. We're good.
We're good.
We're fine. So what have you been up to this week?
Oh man, this weekend was chill. Just lounged around. Didn't do much. Watched some anime. What now?
Did you have work?
No, I worked last week.
Okay.
Well, kind of. I was sick. I really had to power through.
Ugh. I'm sorry.
It was pretty gross. I was a gross boy. People didn't like me.
I felt like I almost got sick after about a week after the con, but I pulled through after sleeping 12 hours.
Yeah, you see, I did it. They called me bubonic bin.
Ouch.
Right? I'm still kind of sniffy.
Yeah,
you can probably tell I'm a little stuffed up.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice.
So, it adds to my charm.
Yeah. Well,
I'll just make sure to sniff into the microphone so that everyone can hear me.
Please do. Just whenever you gotta blow your nose, make sure you put it like right there so it's just really loud.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I've been blowing my nose, that's for sure.
God. Your microphone has a mute switch, right?
Nope. 24/7, baby.
Ugh. See, I've got quite a bit of Amazon cash just from doing those surveys that no one else did for one of my classes, so that they just felt obligated to send me the money, I guess. So I have enough money to buy a mic, but I want to get a somewhat nice one.
I mean, the Samsung that I got's been working out pretty swell, and it was only like $30, $35.
Yeah, but for about that same amount, I could get a like one of those Blue Yeti snowball mics that are really nice. And that's
true, but it's the stands that get you. The stand cost is where the money's at.
The stand comes with it, though.
Oh wow!
Wait, no, it's just like a little tripod. Nothing fancy.
Must not be an Apple product.
No, but believe it or not, most companies don't sell $1,000 stands for.
Excuse me, it's $999.
Oh, my bad.
Plus tax and shipping.
Plus tax, so it's actually $1,020. Dear Lord.
Excuse me.
Well, I guess we'll know if you die in the middle of this.
No, if I was gonna die, it would have been last Tuesday. I'm recovering now. I'm on the up.
That's good. I've been increasingly kind of lazy. I had 2 interviews 2 weeks ago, or not this past week, but the week before. I had an interview on Monday, and then at the end of that one, they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna set you up for another phone interview tomorrow." I was like, "Oh okay." So I did that one, and then he's like, "All right, we'll call you back." And then I didn't hear from him, and then on Friday I got just a blank email from them, and I'm like, "Hey, it says I have a phone interview, but it doesn't have a time on it." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know why it sent you that. Yeah, I'm still waiting for feedback from that guy that called you. So we'll send you another email." I was like, "All right, thanks."
All right. Well, you keep trucking.
I'm up to over 80 applications at this point.
You are a valuable asset that a company will like.
Debatable.
I believe it.
Debatable.
All right, you want to jump into this?
Wake me up. Yeah. Sorry, that was just reminding
Save me.
Save me. Okay. Let's swap screens. Beautiful. Hello and welcome back to the Audio Shop podcast. This is Sam speaking right now, and I'm joined by Cooper.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
He's a bit sick.
Got a little bit of the sniffles, but that won't deter me from making quality content.
Yeah, and we still have no donate button because no one is going to donate to this. Also, I don't know how to set it up.
I'll donate to us.
Huh?
I'll donate to us.
That's like giving yourself $5 that doesn't do anything.
But like mentally, it feels good.
But does it if it's you? I guess for the
I guess we'll never know unless you set up that donate button.
Okay, I guess I'll try and figure it out for this. But this week we listened to "Do Things" by Dent May at Cooper's request.
It's a solid album, and for those of you who don't know, since Dent May is not the most popular singer of all time, James Dent May is a singer-songwriter based in Los Angeles, California, though he's originally a Mississippi boy. And he has actually released 4 albums throughout his career. The first one in 2009 and the most recent one in 2017. And he's most associated with the genres of psychedelic pop, indie rock, new wave, synth pop. So very cutting edge kind of artist.
All of those are not tags on the 6 music options that Twitch has, so we just went with electronic hip hop.
I'd say that's probably pretty close, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we decided, or at least I threw out the idea of reviewing his sophomore album, Do Things, because it is a personal favorite of mine. I'm a bit of a Dent May fan, and if I can get other people to be Dent May fans, then I would consider this a success.
Yeah, so we'll jump right into the first one, Rent Money.
Rent Money. So this is overall this is a pretty tight album. I'd say 10 songs, like 35 minutes. So each one's got a little more punch to it, since there's not too much fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like his harmony at the beginning. It was a little bit odd. Like he sings. So if you haven't heard any of his music, which I'm going to assume you haven't, he sings in a constant falsetto, which it took a little bit getting used to, but it was funky. Again, couldn't really understand what he was saying, but it sounds good. But he was in this first one. He was seeing like how low he could get with the falsetto, and it sounded really weird.
It's definitely he like tries to go into lower register while being in like his upper register falsetto. And it gives a very unique vocal performance.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it's a good song. Like, I'll say that. I didn't understand a word that he said, but it was that split that falsetto low notes were a little awkward. And then it was also a real big trend of splitting the instrumentals between sides of the headphone, which I'm not a fan of in the slightest.
Well, you're never a fan of.
I'm never a fan of. And
that's a dynamic sound to it, Sam. Like you're really listening to music.
But does anyone really do that nowadays? No.
Dent May does. The Beatles did. Everyone loves the Beatles.
Okay, Cooper, I said nowadays. This was a thing that audio techs were a big fan of back in the day, and it's kind of died out because as headphones get better, it gets a little more annoying. But I mean, the first song, not bad. Come Back to Me when we're 6 songs in, and every song has the same thing in one of the ears. It gets a bit much for me.
Well, I think Rent Money hits it off strong.
Yeah,
it's basically all of it's Dent May kind of at his he's playing to his strengths on this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some funky guitar and synth and piano chords going on. It's got a strong bass line, which is a running theme throughout this album, is that the bass lines are, they're delicious.
Beautiful.
And I'm sure you noticed, Sam, but in each song, he has a very, he likes the layered vocals.
Yeah.
He's a man that doesn't like having his vocal alone. He always likes to layer him.
There's only one song, I think, where there's a couple songs where I caught the lyrics, but the only one that I think that was in falsetto, I have something to talk about, so... The lyrics sound amazing. It's just I can't understand a single word he's saying on the first listen. This is my first listen, I should say, as well. So
it becomes a little easier to understand the verses as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one has another strength he has is a catchy chorus, where it really sticks in your brain. There's a lot of really good choruses in here that are able to really become an earworm.
Yeah,
which he plays too.
And I
And
would say it's very funky, but it's a relaxing funk, you know? Not like a get up and dance. It's kind of like you're driving on the beach at sunset kind of funk.
yeah, that definitely plays into his. I don't know. His vocals are like they're layered and they definitely hit the upper register, but they're not like Imagine Dragons level of like hitting the high notes of shouty scream, right?
Yeah, he's not
They've got like an energy to it, but more of a subdued energy, even with all the layering.
Yeah, it's more like it sounds like his vocal cords are about to give out rather than screaming. Oh God, don't die.
No, just coughing.
All right, well then jumping into song number 2, "Fun." I did catch the word "fun" in this one. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say I really like the acoustic, especially kind of with his upper register. It provides a nice bit of juxtaposition, I guess is what I'm going for. But the thing that really detracts from this song, in my opinion, is the drum pad. Like the acoustic is really nice and kind of just plucking in the background, going away at the guitar. But then the drum pad comes in and it's way too it's like a square wave as opposed to the natural sound of the acoustic. If they had gone with an actual drum kit here, I feel like that would have made the song a heck of a lot better. Just because the drum pad was just too neat.
I would have to agree. I think May's probably his weakest aspect is his percussion and his songwriting. It's it's usually pretty simple drum pads, and they definitely I wouldn't say it detracted from this song. I didn't really notice it in terms of like actively detracting, but they're never something that stand out in any of his songs. They really are just kind of the foundation that he can play around on, right?
Yeah, and they were only really leapt out to me here because it was before any singing came in. Right at the start, the guitar comes in, and then a couple bars later, the drum pad comes in.
Right, so it's a little more in your face.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, like the acoustics, I think go really well with the vocals, where they're again with that laid back vibe, and it has this very weird kind of wobbly synth melody that I think give a lot of personality to the song, which is all about having fun, which makes sense.
And that bass you were talking about earlier really helps in about the 1 minute 50 mark. There's a real nice funky guitar solo that lasts for about 20 seconds, and the bass goes a long way to prop that up.
Oh man, there's some good bass lines on this song.
And then there was a flute that came in at some point, again for only like 15 seconds, and it seemed kind of out of tune. It seemed out of place, but it wasn't bad. I mean, it sounded good. It was just like, oh, there's a flute, and now it's gone.
No, that's what I really appreciate about this album overall is how he's willing to just like throw in something just to like add a little personality. And he doesn't necessarily have to stick to it, but he'll like just throw it in and make things a little more interesting. Yeah. Obviously, the priority here isn't like a grand message or like it's no the wall. It's not trying to like say anything particularly revolutionary.
Yeah.
But it's like each song's just made to have like a really fun core, and then he like builds on top of that with some really interesting window dressing.
Yeah, and the only complaint I really had about this one, other than the drum pad being a bit out of place, was right near the end.
Was the ending where it keeps saying
it was a bit much. I think it would have been nice to have the acoustic guitar kind of carry us out there, as opposed to saying it's going to be fun at the end over and over and over again.
I noted that too, where he says, "I believe it's going to be fun," and he says it a lot.
Yeah, just a bit too much.
Where you kind of get to the point where you're like, okay, this is I believe you. Let's just
You don't have to convince me.
No, I'm convinced. I was convinced by the second one.
Yeah. Jump into number 3 then. Tell her.
Now I dig this song.
Do you?
It's got a this one I couldn't put my finger on it for the first two. This one really brings out. It's got this really heavy Beach Boys vibe. Like a Pet Sounds type thing, where this kind of summery jam, along with his kind of glittering vocals. This is where I really felt it, because this one's got a heavy like summer feel.
Yeah, for this one, this is again, I feel like this happens every album we listen to. We have this one song that we get to where I finally have a revelation about something that's been bugging me, so I kind of ignore the song as I'm listening to it and write about that instead. Um, I really like you were saying. I'm a big fan of the weird modulations with the keyboard sound that he's doing in this, but the severe splitting of the instruments again, and I think it's because it's the drum kit. He has just the drum kit going in the left ear, and as you said, that's not his strong suit, so it gets a little bit grating when, you know. I think in Fun too, it has the drum kit in the left ear. It gets a little bit grating listening to it back to back. Now, if you're sitting in a car or listening to this, or like listening to it through a speaker, beautiful, no issues. The only issue I have is the instrument splitting, which is solved in any listening to it in anything else than headphones.
No, that makes sense. For me, I didn't even notice the splitting.
Yeah, I'm
which is something that you got a little more eye for that detail. But for me, it's just like, oh, this is I like what's going on. I didn't necessarily see that.
Yeah.
Perhaps if I listen to it again, kind of really listen to it, it might annoy me. But just even wearing headphones and listening, it didn't really stand out to me that much.
Yeah. I wonder if it's these headphones I have or something. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like I pick up on that a lot.
And maybe yours just are very good at like picking up those what are they called?
Splits.
Binaural.
Oh yeah.
Tendencies.
Or maybe my brain just doesn't like trying to think too hard and process two separate things through each ear. That's probably it.
It might be that one.
I don't want to do work.
But even disregarding the split instrumentals, I really like the vibe of this one. It's got this like really glittering chorus where everything kind of plays together to give this very playful summer feel. And it also starts a bit of a trend that I kind of noticed is kind of if this album does have a theme overall, it's definitely the theme of like kind of live your own life as long as you're doing what you want to do.
Okay, you're talking about the lyrics?
Yeah, like throughout the that's like the big theme of this album is do things.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't really matter what you do as long as you want to do them and you do something.
I see what you're saying.
So this one's all about make sure you tell her that you love her, right? While you still got the time. So, and I think it's a very relatable sentiment. And it's also not something that's too heavy that like weighs the song down.
Yeah.
Because these songs are not like made to be analyzed lyrically, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I didn't bother looking up the lyrics after this one, just because I felt like it was more of the sound rather than what he was saying.
Yeah, it's more of the feeling and the sentiment rather than the lyrics. The lyrics just kind of carry them.
But yeah, that was I always have the one song where I just kind of ignore the song and write something else. Jumping to number 4 then, Best Friend.
Best Friend.
Yeah. Again, drum kit in the left ear. Big fan of doing that. He seems to be. But the bass, amazing. As Cooper said earlier, just throughout this whole album, the bass never slips up.
It's got a real good bass line. And this song is just cute as hell.
Mm-hmm. And he's not singing in falsetto, so I could actually understand a bit of this one. Yeah,
no, this one's a little in the lower registers.
I like how he sounds in the normal register. I kind of wish he did it a bit more.
He does do it in his other albums. This album's very falsetto-y. But even especially in his more recent albums, he kind of plays more in the lower registers.
Okay.
So this one is just very heavy with that particular kind of sound.
He sounds real good in both. I just wish there was a bit more variety in this album with actually singing in a normal register.
I will admit by the end I was a little like the vocal performance got a little samey. Not that it was bad, but like there's a very similar sound when you're always upper register and always like layering. There's only so much you can do with that, right?
I've got his formula written down here when we get to the end of the album.
Oh, you got a formula?
There's literally the same thing every song.
But it works every time.
It's good. It's just, again, when I feel like I need to start varying how I sit down and listen to this music a bit. because often if it's an album I've never listened to before, I'll sit down and open up Spotify, open up our Google thing where we write everything down, and then just start analyzing the songs as I'm listening to them. But that's not the way a lot of these albums are meant to be listened to. They kind of break down when you do that. Like last week we listened to Origins. Do not listen to those back to back. That was god awful. This one, again, not really made to be listened to back to back. If you were not sitting down and focusing on it, say you were taking a car ride, oh, this is like beautiful car driving, or you're going for a walk or doing anything other than sitting and analyzing the music. I feel like doing that kind of detracts from it in a way. Like, maybe I should just listen to it once and then come back and analyze, because I feel like I'd be like, oh man, I love this album, and come back and be like, okay, I love this, but here are some of the things I wish that were a little bit better. So
Yeah, usually what I like to do, especially since my drive to work is like 45 minutes long, is I like to just listen to it all the way through, not taking notes, not even like really like analyzing it, but just listen to it all the way through, like 2 or 3 times, and like really kind of exist in like, okay, this is what they're going for, just like on a surface level. And then I sit down one last time, really like go song by song and think about it. And I think that makes it a little more enjoyable, because then you can listen to it like the normal way, like the way a artist would, actually think a normal person would listen to it.
Normal people.
Like normal people.
Yeah.
And then like actually digging a little more into it.
That is a good idea. I've got 2 counterpoints to that. One, but if I do that, then I'm not going to be the cynical asshole that is keeps it somewhat entertaining for people listening. So we're not just sitting here blowing on our bubble pipes. Yeah, it's quite. This is a good album. And then if I have time to listen to an album 3 times, I have time to watch my Ken Burns Roosevelt documentary.
I mean, those are 2 things.
So,
getting
back to the music. Your way of listening to it is a lot smarter, though.
Well, it helps when I've got an hour and a half every day to burn in a car.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not taking an hour and a half to get from my bed to my chair at my desk. So jump into what are we on? Number 5 now. Don't wait too long.
Don't wait too long.
Very funky right off the bat again.
This one comes right out the gate with just the funk. And I think it's a good melding of genres, because obviously there's a lot of synth pop in here. A lot of summer Beach Boys type sound, but it's kind of melded within this more funky undertones, especially with the bass.
I wouldn't say so much Beach Boys, but just kind of like that light, airy kind of feeling.
Yeah. Kind of that general summer vibe.
Yeah. I was thinking when we got to this point on song 5, he has a very established style. It's not a bad style. It's not bad to have a style as an artist. It's just, there's no mistaking this guy for somebody else. Like once you know his style, it's him. And I would like to see a bit more variation. As you said, he kind of goes all falsetto this album, and he doesn't really shake it up too terribly much. And I would like to see a little bit of that.
I definitely think it's kind of to his detriment on this song, just because you come in with this like super funky bass line, right? Which is throughout the entire song. But then his vocals are still that falsetto layered thing going on. And the vocals don't really come down to meet the funky beat.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's clashing. We're not getting another The Machine type thing from... Can we just trash Imagine Dragons for like the rest of this podcast? Just like forever?
You know what? Imagine Dragons Origins Part 2.
Every time we hear a song, we can just go, well, at least it wasn't as bad as this song. But
well, we can't... I mean, we should reference our older stuff, but what if we've got new listeners? Yeah, what a joke. We don't have new listeners.
You never know.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I think... I really enjoyed this one. Because I was complaining about... I was like, man, I want to see more variation. And then the instant I finished typing that, the guitar solo came in. And that was exactly what I was looking for.
This does have a licking guitar solo.
It's like not been done yet. It's really well done. It fits with the funky bass. Now just take the damn drum kit out of my left ear. It's still there.
Are you sure that's not just like a microphone or your headphones? Because
I specifically took my headphones and moved it from one side to the other to see if maybe just because I had been hearing it in that left ear for so long, I was picking it up. But no, there was no drum kit coming through on the right.
Yeah, because I'm listening through it. I'm playing it a bit in the background right now on a softer volume, and yeah, it seems to be a little more left and right on mine.
Maybe you're just wrong. Ever thought about that?
Well, maybe I am. My left ear has been stuffed.
Yeah, disregard anything Cooper says he's sick.
Okay, well that I'm not sure. That's the way to go about it.
My review is the only one that counts this week.
I'm as much a human being as you are.
Arguable. So,
but
and then he comes
it's got
in
that
with
guitar
the synth.
solo, and then you're like, okay, this song's got something interesting, and then it hits you with a synth solo, and it's like, ooh.
And you know me and synth. It doesn't take much of that to win me over.
I like this song too. It's a really fun song.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. I mean, I feel like the issue with the album is each song kind of has the same style. Ooh. So,
excuse me.
Once you kind of review that and you go over that, there's not much new style-wise to cover each song. Whereas if you were doing, anything else, usually the style changes quite a bit from song to song, minus Imagine Dragons.
I mean, I think it does variations of the style. So obviously, this one's like a lot more funky than the other songs.
Yeah, that's true. Just not enough variation, in my opinion. I would have liked to see him take it a bit further, because he hangs on to his sound really well. It's just I feel like he doesn't kind of move about with it and see where its limits are.
I think it kind of depends on where you're approaching the album from. Like if you're expecting an ice cream cake, you bite into it, and you only get cake. Like, well, cake's still good, but I want some ice cream in there too.
That's
right?
What you're saying.
But if you're like, you get cake, you're like, well, this is good ass cake. So
yeah, fair enough.
Though this song definitely helped highlight the fact that these songs are very vocal heavy. Mm-hmm. There are not a lot of spaces where the instrumentals just kind of breathe without the vocals.
Yeah, and I think he should do more of that because he's very good at writing the instruments.
Yeah, he's got some good instrumentals, especially like I noticed it because these solos coming. I'm like, oh, it's kind of a little refreshing just to be able to ride this out a bit.
Mm-hmm. And I hear, I think it's going to be fun.
28 times.
Oh, God. Jump into number 6, then. Wedding Day.
Wedding Day.
It still feels a bit repetitive to me. The song style isn't different enough for me from the last. It's still very good song. Just the way I've been listening to it, sitting and focusing. When you focus on the style, and then he kind of really just keeps the same style, it gets a bit annoying, I guess is what I'm going for.
Yeah, I mean, Wedding Day definitely. It starts off with a very kind of I don't know, almost offsetting kind of wobbly synth.
Oh, it gets more offsetting from there. Did you catch the laughing?
Yeah, this song was like kind of an odd duck for like the album, because this album's definitely had like this really light, breezy, don't take life too seriously kind of vibe. This one's, I don't know, a little more sinister.
Yeah,
this is like talking about like telling a girl not to worry because someday someone will marry her.
I think what was the piano thing you were talking about at the beginning? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that.
Oh, because at the very beginning, like, it starts with like this really wobbly, like kind of offsetting synth. That's, I guess, kind of like a mocking, like kind of a wedding chime type thing.
I see.
And we still got a really catchy chorus, but yeah, it ends with that kind of creepy laughter.
Yeah, I did not like that. It really caught me off guard. However, I will say, I've been ragging on that split audio for this whole thing, but right at the end, there's like some guitar riffs that he throws in just in the right ear, and it sounds really good. So I'm wondering if it's just his drum kit I don't like.
It might just be. I think the percussion's definitely a weak point.
Yeah.
Plus, the chorus is pretty banging.
Yeah.
I like the way the vocals kind of wave up and down. It like goes up and then brings it back down.
Yeah, and he sure loves to sing his falsetto.
He likes his falsetto,
quite a bit.
but he does it well.
He
So
does.
I'm not complaining.
He does do it very well. I just like his lower register and wish he did it a bit more. I say lower register, normal register.
Regular human register.
Yeah. Jump into song number 7 then. Parent.
Parents.
Now, this is one that, again, is in falsetto, but about midway through the song, I could actually understand it. And the way he says parents to rhyme, he says it parents. Like
parents.
So the way I'm saying it kind of he has a very specific way of saying it in the song that you hear it and you're like, wait a second, he's trying to say, like your mom and dad, but it sounds like the fruit pear, and then uns, like at the club, uns. It I can't mimic the way he says it. It's ridiculous, but it took me
because he's doing that. He's doing it. He does it like in this pair. He's like in that.
Yeah.
He goes in that low register thing. It's like
exactly.
really hard to imitate.
And when it took me like 5 or 6 times of hearing him say it to actually figure out. I'm like, wait a second. He's saying the title of the song. It doesn't sound like it took. There was such a disconnect in my brain. It was weird. It was like all the neurons finally connecting and seeing.
Yeah, the brain blast.
Exactly. But yeah, this one again, it would have had a stronger start with the real drums. He leaned on the drum kit a bit at the beginning, and it's not to his detriment. This is the song. Before we started, I was talking to Cooper, trying to figure out if you could hear my desktop. Everybody else can, but Cooper can't. Right at the start, there's the sound like Snake dying. That kind of I don't know how to describe it, so I'll just play it. So those notes that kind of descend as game over comes up on the screen, it sounds exactly like that. And I compared it. I played the song and played this clip, and honestly the only difference is the Snake one is about like an octave higher. It's the exact same sound.
Well, there you go. Maybe it's a tribute.
Maybe he ripped the sound off.
Or maybe they ripped him off.
Yeah, sure.
20 years earlier.
Yeah. The album that came in 2012 was ripped off.
Yeah, but I don't know. Overall, this one I was pretty lukewarm on. Just because I don't think it did anything as interesting. I mean, his weird kind of lower register vocals were, something different. But in terms of like the actual instrumental, it was like more laid back, a little more stripped back, and didn't really have any of those extra flares that the other songs have been having.
Yeah, I did like again, it's a song with his lower vocals, so I appreciated it just for some difference. And then at the end, he repeats the chorus, but he only carries it out like 2 or 3 times, and then just kind of hums with the music.
It does have a very spacey ending that I like.
Yeah, it doesn't say, I think it'll be fun. So that's good.
Into eternity.
Yeah. But jump into 8 then. Find it. It starts with a very nice kind of chiming keyboard, combined with a fading guitar to produce a really unique
very
sound.
Distorted, dreamy type guitar.
I really like it. It's nice. It kind of fades in and out. It kind of fades around. Not like from ear to ear, but I don't know how to describe it. Just listen to the song. It's only like all these songs are 3 minutes. It's like
it's
each song
30
is the
minute
same
album.
length. Yeah, it's a short album.
This beginning has a very dream-like feel to it, where even his vocals are not monotone, but they're very like, instead of like doing his usual thing where he's like jumping all over the place, it's like very consistent.
Yeah, and he has a
but
weird...
they're still.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, but they're still layered, so it's almost like it's very dreamlike, where it's almost like several people are talking to you at the same time.
Like this podcast. But no, he has a weird chord progression, like you were saying. It's odd. I don't know how to describe it, but it adds to the sound, the dreamlike sound that Cooper was talking about. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. He kind of like goes up, like he makes it a question with the chords.
which I think is pretty appropriate since this is all about having your head in the sky and finding your dream,
Yeah,
or finding meaning in life, really.
again, it was falsetto, so I didn't understand a word.
Well, the main thing of the chorus it says, "Some people say that life has no meaning, but I say you have to find it for yourself."
Well, that's
So
very
it's like,
uplifting. I like
yeah,
that.
so it's like very, again, it goes back into that theme of kind of like, just live life your own way as long as you're living it, right?
Man, I like the music, and it's got an upbeat message. That's always great about songs.
I
that you
like
don't
happy
understand
songs.
the lyrics.
This is a very happy album.
Yeah,
This will put you in a good mood.
yeah. It's like the perfect music to just have on in the background. And then also at this point, I'm kind of, since we're getting to the last. This is the third to last
Third to
song
last.
on the album. I'm kind of starting to nail down his formula. He has a formula, and
No, you're right. I'm not going to disagree with you there.
at this point, I'm convinced each song has a synth break, but just at a different sound setting. So, and it does. Each song has a synth break about a third from the end, and he just kind of changes the setting. And of course, the melody is different each time, and the music's different. But there's a synth break at the same spot just about every time.
Oh yeah, this isn't Bohemian Rhapsody. This isn't trying to reinvent the pop song.
Yeah. He found a formula and it works and he sticks with it.
Now the song does end with the sound of, I think, like a person purring.
I didn't catch that. That's surprising.
Yeah, go back to like the last 10 seconds and like listen closely. It's like this like person like purring. It's a little. I'm not sure what it has to do with the message of the.
I don't know if I want to listen to
this.
that. That's kind of weird.
It's not like sinister. It's always like a little playful thing. It's not like the creepy laughing in Wedding Day.
Yeah, that was
But
like they even. Sorry to jump back to that, but like it could have been normal laughing, but I felt like it was purposely creepy in that.
I think that song was supposed to be a little tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Basically saying, "Don't worry about finding love. Someone will marry you."
Yeah. Not all the songs are that upbeat, I guess.
Yeah, Wedding Day surely the only exception.
Yeah.
Gotta throw in one.
Gotta throw in the black sheep. So jump
Yeah.
into number 9 then. Do Things, the title
The
of the
titular
album.
track.
Now, I love the rain. It starts off with a rainstorm.
You like your sound effects.
However, he immediately takes it away, and I hate that. You can't just do that to me.
Should our next
speaking
album
of
just be a
rain.
review of like of natural sounds,
Yeah,
like
we could
rain and birds chirping? You'd probably give it a 10 out of 10.
probably. And immediately as I say, love the sound of the rain, the sky opens up here. So
Oh yeah, it's raining here too.
So he underuses sound effects in this album, in my opinion. He starts doing it more towards the second half. And the rain would make the perfect kind of white noise to have in the background, and the music style suits having it. Like it would work if it was there. I think
This
he just
one's
doesn't want to have
it's
it
definitely
too much.
a lot more of a low key. Even for a title track, it's a lot more of a laid back more than usual.
Yeah, and it does bring the rain back occasionally, which I appreciate.
It's kind of got like it's like a sad Beach Boys song. Keep going back to Beach Boys, but it's like if the Beach Boys were looking out a rainy window, kind of reminiscing about the life.
I don't think Beach Boys are capable of being sad.
That's why I think it's unique.
Yeah.
It's still got a summery vibe, but it's definitely got a little. The verses specifically have that kind of more melancholic feel, but then it gets more hopeful as it goes into the chorus.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very, very nice song. And then right at the end, he throws in some birds chirping, like as the sun peeks back out from behind the clouds.
Which I thought was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it made the song feel like a closer.
Yeah, that's what after listening to the song number 10, Homegrown, spelled Groan, I think Do Things should have been last. It definitely was a closing song. Because you're like, oh man, that was good. And then you jump into another one, you're like, that's kind of already wrapped it up.
I think it's like a little encore.
Yeah. You shouldn't have
More
an
or
encore
less.
in an album,
Hey, why not?
I don't know.
But I definitely
Just my
felt
opinion, I guess.
the vocals and Do Things had a little more emotion to them, since he kind of went for a little more sad vibe at the beginning. Definitely, he hasn't. He's not been good trying to cover the whole human experience in this album emotionally. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, Have a little bit of sad boy hours right near the end. It's a nice little palate cleanser.
Real sad boy hours.
Sad boy hours here.
Then jumping into song number 10, the last song on the album, Homegrown, spelled
Homegrown.
G-O-A-R. Oh, wait, I can't spell. G-R.
Hey, don't lie. You thought that was clever the first time you read that.
I mean, not really.
You did.
No.
You did.
No.
Remember, you sent me that text that said, "Whoa, homegrown!"
No,
like homegrown.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Are you sure you didn't do that?
Yeah, I'm positive. Again, this one though, as much as I think Do Things should have been last, I don't think this song should have been dropped because it comes right out of the gate with amazing synth.
Oh yeah.
It should be titled "Synth the Song."
It's got this like, I called it like lily pad synth, but it's kind of like hopping over itself. It's like it's like the what I imagine like if like an electronic frog was like hopping across a pond, right? It's like wow, 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 wow. It's a very futuristic vibe to kind of throw onto the end of the album, which I like because none of the songs really had this kind of future vibe to it, even if they were synth heavy.
Yeah, and I think from here on out, we should have you do a take of every song. Just sing it, since we can't play it.
Just get copyright strikes because I'm just so good at imitating it.
You get to the point where you're so good at imitating the synthesizer, you can sing it. But then
Man,
again,
I wish.
It comes back to the established middle synth break, but this time it mixes the synth with guitar. It's kind of got them playing together, which is nice.
It also has some ooh-woes in there.
Ooh?
No, ooh-woes.
Oh, my bad.
Oh-woes.
Oh-wo?
Oh-wo.
Oh-wo.
And,
yeah, but this is the point where I was like, okay, here's his style.
Oh, break it out on me.
So, he starts off the song, right, with the instrumental.
Right.
And then after about 5 bars, he starts singing.
Right.
And he's got about 2 verses in the chorus. So he sings a verse, he does the chorus, sings another verse, and then it goes into the synth break. And then he sings the chorus, and then the song's over.
Well, I think that's just the formula for most pop songs, Sam.
Well, the thing is, though, the vocals sound extremely similar. The instrumentals are pretty similar. So it's kind of like copy and pasting. No,
I wouldn't say no. That's too much.
The vocals are pretty much copy and paste. It feels.
No, there's a lot of different. I mean, the general performance of them, I'd say, are rather similar throughout the album, but the actual like melodies that they go for, the choruses, especially on Homegrown, I really like the chorus on this one.
He does vary the chorus and the melody and stuff, which is great. I'm just saying the delivery is a bit.
The delivery is samey.
Yeah. And I would hope, and this is just a sophomore album, so hopefully, he broke out of that sameness. I think maybe it's just because everything's in the falsetto, and there's maybe not the drum there to break it up like we were talking about before with his kind of lackluster drum kit. But that was just the impression I got. Now I love the album. It's a beautiful album. There's just some things that need to be worked on.
Yeah, maybe it's not like this is maybe more thrown to a playlist.
Yeah, exactly.
But I still think even despite like not having a story structure or any particular flow, like if I mixed around these songs on the album, I don't think it'd be really to its detriment. Maybe keep Do Things at the end, but everything else I think could be moved around pretty easily.
Yeah,
but still, I think it's a solid album.
It is.
It maintains the same. I think even more important than like maintaining some sort of story is maintaining a vibe, right? Mm-hmm. An album should have a personality, a specific character, and I think this album does a really strong point of like being something that each song you can identify its chorus, you can really pick it out from a crowd, but they all maintain that Dent May energy
through identical delivery. Yes. I'm just trying to be argumentative for the sake of it, but it's a very good album. For these last 2, I started like tabbing out, doing some other things, and tabbing back in when I had something to write, and that really improved the experience, in my opinion. So it's like the perfect, you laying out on a hammock or something, you pop this album on, nice sunny day, birds chirping, perfect thing to relax to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I agree where it's not very lyrically or maybe even emotionally deep, but I definitely think the instrumentals have some meat to them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where you can definitely dig into the instrumentals.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine if this whole album was just instrumentals. I think it would still be, pretty dang good.
I think it'd be good, but definitely the vocals add so much character to it.
They do, yeah. That falsetto, can't ignore it.
You cannot. You could pick that one out from a crowd. That's for sure.
All right. Well, let's jump on to the favorite and least favorite then, if you want to.
Yeah. I guess I'll start off. I was really torn on this one. Between the first song, Rent Money, just because that's such a strong opener. I think it really shows all the strong points of Dent May. With the interesting vocals, the layering, strong bass line, hitting those high registers, as well as having all the electronica and funky guitar, and all the instrumentals really build beneath them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I might actually choose as my favorite song, maybe Best Friend, just because this one makes me the happiest. The chorus just makes me smile every time I hear it, just because the lyrics are so cute. And it's got this really, really pumping disco synth pop that just drives the song forward while maintaining this like chipper attitude and just layering in the bass line, having more driving percussion, and just really doing a lot within 3 minutes, I think.
So sweet.
Yeah, what about you?
So I think I'm going to have to go with Do Things for my favorite. I think it's just it is the, title song of the album, so it's a little cliche, but I think it kind of puts out like the best he has to offer. Plus, it kind of panders to me a bit with those background sounds, and it's a bit more different than the rest of the songs on the album, so it kind of stands out a bit more. And I don't know, it just kind of is was the most calming for me. Just most relaxing. It's got the funk there, but it's also got the synth, and it's got the background noises, and it's still got his, singing over top of it. So I think that was the strongest one in my opinion.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll go into my least favorite. This one was actually pretty hard for me. I was obviously there's strong points on the album, like Rent Money, Teller, Best Friend, Find It, Do Things. I know that's like homegrown. That's like half the album.
Yeah.
But I think I ultimately went back with Parents. For me, it just the chorus wasn't super catchy, or at least it was interesting. It was memorable. It had those like dips into the low register, but I don't think it really did enough with changing up his instrumental style. I think that was really the detriment to it, was the fact that its instrumental was a little on the lackluster side. Still a good song, but it just when you have so many good instrumentals back to back in this album, one that's just more on the mediocre side kind of stands out.
Yeah, and I was actually going to go with Parents too, but for a different version, or for a different reason. Just because once I heard the first thing I heard was that snake sound, so I couldn't take the song seriously after that. But then when I finally figured out he was saying Parents and his weird singing style, that really threw me for a loop. And the chorus kind of was a bit repetitive. Didn't carry out like Fun did, but it made me think of that, which I didn't like.
Parents.
And I mean, it wasn't in falsetto for all of it, which I liked, but it's not a bad song. Just of all the songs, I feel like it's just kind of the weakest.
Yeah,
it's
definitely. This album could have done it without it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm not upset. It's there, but either it could have been tightened up a little bit, or made into a tighter 30-minute album. But already, this album's pretty watertight.
Yeah, it's pretty dang short. I don't think he should have cut that. It's a good song. It's just the weakest one. And, there's always going to be the weakest song because
Yeah.
you got two songs. One of them's going to be weaker than the other.
That's life.
Yeah.
Huh?
All right,
I
let's
think
jump
we're at that
into the
time where we
rating
get
then.
to do our final rating.
Yeah, so we have our fancy, super fancy, dancy rating system. Our 1 through 5. Top is Showroom, that's 5 out of 5. 1 out of 5 is Scrapyard. You know, we're using the whole car thing because both of us know so much about cars.
I know every bits and piece. I know the wheels,
Yep.
the motor.
I change my
and,
headlight fluid once a week.
Yeah, etc.
But yeah, so Showroom is, you buy it at the Tesla dealership, and then Scrapyard is, Scrapyard. Not too much explanation there. Cooper, you want to go ahead?
I will, and I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the lever. I'm gonna commit and say this is probably my very first showroom on this show. I'm gonna stipulate and say it's a very, very light showroom, teetering into like new. Because I do think this album has some flaws. Like I said, Parents is a so-so song. I'm not too crazy about Wedding Day either. And if you're not a fan of his vocal styles, this album's could be a hard listen. But for me, I very much like his vocal styles. It's unique, it's catchy, it's layered, and it really plays well into his summery, fun instrumentals. And for me, this is an album I've listened to many times, and I plan to listen to plenty of times before. It's just fun to sing, and it's I don't know if there's anything. There's not really much deeper meaning there besides just I actively very much enjoying this album after very many listens.
Right.
If that's not a showroom, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I'd say that's the definition. And mine's a bit different. I'm gonna go with Fixer Upper. So a bit lower. It's a very strong Fixer Upper though. Okay. I was on the fence between doing a very, very low like new and a very strong Fixer Upper. I like the album a lot. Maybe I'll listen to it again. Maybe I won't. So I'm kind of, it's in the middle. It's a good album. Don't know if I'll listen to it again though. So I like his style. He's does a lot of things well, but he gets a little bit too formulaic. So he's got that working against him. But yeah, I feel like it's a middle of the road kind of thing. In certain situations, it's a showroom. In certain situations, it's a scrapyard. Like if you're on a road trip and you intersperse his songs, in a playlist, that's perfect. If you're getting over a breakup and he's just constantly like, oh man,
I believe it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
As you cry in the shower.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea to listen to it then. But yeah, it's a very it's got its strengths, it's got its weaknesses. It's a middle of the road kind of album. A strong middle of the road.
Yeah, I think if it presses the right buttons like it does for me, you're gonna really enjoy this album. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah, worth a listen.
And if it doesn't, I think it's still like you said, Sam. It's still a very enjoyable album, even if it's only for one listen.
Yeah, and it's only half an hour, just about, right?
Yeah, it's like 34 minutes.
Yeah, so you're not sinking too much into it.
Yeah.
And hey,
so what's there to lose? Give it a listen.
Well, that's about all we got for this week. Or should I say today, because who knows if we're going to do the next one Sunday or next Monday again. So
I like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, depending on whether or not Cooper's decided to honor the sanctity of Sunday night.
Plans sometimes get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm a sick boy. Don't hit me while I'm down.
Yeah, I'll do that. So thanks. Jesus. As Cooper dies in the background. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you again next time. See you later, shoppies.
See you later. And have a good night.
Yeah. Okay, we really got to think of a new name so I stop saying shoppies.
No, I like it. It's sticking.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Catch you later.
See ya.